I think Gwendolyn is asking, what are some of the signs and indications that someone might see in a dream that will let them know that it's from a past life, so that they'll understand that what they're really experiencing is a memory from a past life. Is that correct?
Oh, I see.
Yes. Thank you for clarifying.
Well, yeah, certainly if the clothes of the people are different, and there's the environment, really the environment would tell it all, or I don't know if there on a traumatic kind of level how that would come through, because for me the trauma, when I get a traumatic memory in a dream, it's still symbolic. I mean, it's all symbolic. The mind isn't telling me that I've been, raped or something. The mind is telling me in a different way. It's giving me the emotions of that negative trauma, but in a symbolic way. In other words, I had a dream the other day. I was in a car, and my father was driving the car. I was in the back seat, okay? And this humongous bear came in to the back, and it was going to eat me, you know what I mean? And it was huge, and it was vicious, and it was wild. And I was like, "Dad, go!" And my father would not go.
And were you an adult or a child? Did you have a feeling of your age?
No, I was me now.
Oh, got it.
And I was in the car that I last owned. Well, I didn't own the car, but it was a car that I used. And the fact that my father didn't go, and then after that, I ran backwards to this gray building that was like a restaurant or something, and it was chasing me. And now the bear has been in my dream. It was in another dream after that too. So I'm integrating that archetype, that power and that strength. But what it's saying is that I wasn't protected by my father in as a child, and but the intensity of the emotion was so much that it just it's been an integration ever since. It's just been really difficult to handle, because but I didn't see what actually happened. You know what I'm saying? But the bear represented that attack, that assault on my being. So.
And it's an archetypal symbol too, because it's a very primordial symbol that would go way back into some of our earliest incarnations, because mankind has encountered bears for thousands of years. So that's definitely an archetype as well.
It's fantastic. I mean, and you're exactly right. It's a primitive animal totem power. See, the animals have extra power in dreams. They speak to our survival instincts and survival levels. Yeah, you're right about that. A primitive self. And then it's up to us to transform those into healing powers, shamanic abilities. So, and the bear is the teacher of shamans, They're the teacher of herbalists. They eat over 200 different kinds of plants. So symbolically, they're the teachers of earth magic and earth wisdom, really. So I'm trying to integrate that, and then I'm having a whole bunch of root chakra things going on, and it's just very interesting,
Yeah, and if I dreamed about a bear, for me it would be not only powerful, but it was very, very positive, because to me it comes across as mother bear, as very protective and just taking care of, that sort of thing. So that the protection word really stood out for me.
Exactly, yeah. Which is why it was so difficult for me, because there was no protection there in that dream.
Right.
But then I have to integrate protecting myself through that. You know what I'm saying? It works in the opposite. Yeah.
And the fact that you were in the back seat of the car too. I don't know if anybody was in the front seat, but if you're riding in the back and there's no one else in the car and you're an adult, that's really symbolic too.
Yeah, it is. Absolutely.
And you said in this case, in this dream, that your dad was driving the car?
Yeah, he was in the front seat driving the car. And we were driving west on Route 2, and Route 2 is the second chakra, you see. And then it happened to be on a ley line, which is it's the power line for the Earth. We were stuck in an intersection, and I was like, go, go, and it wouldn't move forward. And bears represent the direction of the west, which is the dreams, which is vision, and also healing waters. So you can just go on and on with the symbolism, and it adds that much more richness and depth and understanding, so you can start to integrate the process into your life and become stronger and wiser.
Joel,
and that's the thing about.
If you would, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but if you would, in a moment, tell us a little about how chakras correlate with astrology, with the astrological signs and influences.
Well, I think that's fascinating, and I do see that the chakras and numerology are related in dreams. So whenever you see the numbers in a dream, it's most likely going to be related to a chakra. I also see the colors as related in dreams, related to chakras as well, which has been very beneficial to understanding dreams and actually garnering healing from them. As far as astrology goes, there are different systems that apply one-to-one correspondences between the planets and your chakra system. But in general, you'd say that Saturn and Pluto would rule your root chakra, or even the Earth chakra between the feet. Your second chakra would be ruled by Venus. Third chakra could be Mars or the Sun. Fourth chakra would be the Moon or Venus. Fifth chakra is Mercury, or no, not Mercury. I think it's a throat chakra. That one's some systems say Mars for that, actually, because it represents courage and speaking your voice and courage. It's a Taurian symbol as well. So Venus could be there. The brow chakra, I see that as Mercury or Neptune, and then the crown could be Neptune as well. I'm not sure on that. Haven't had too much crown stuff going on in dreams so much.
I'm having a flashback memory here that I want to share with you that has to do with this. Maybe you'll be able to tie it together, or maybe Gwendolyn will be able to. When I was a child, and we were about to take me to the hospital to have my tonsils removed, to have a tonsillectomy, my grandmother had consulted Farmer's Almanac or something, and she said, no, the sign is wrong. The sign is in his throat right now. We need to postpone this. And so we rescheduled the tonsil operation for 2 or 3 weeks later, and, of course, it went fine without a hitch, whatever. But she very definitely, did not want that surgery to take place while my throat was in that sign. So, again, I wish I knew more about this. I wish I remembered more. I was only 5, 6, 7 years old at the time, and, of course, both my parents and my grandmother are deceased, so there's no way I can access this information other than to research it. But obviously that correlates with what we're discussing here.
Wow, that's pretty amazing. Your grandmother set that up and told you not to?
Yes. Yes.
Wow. So do you know what time of year that happened?
That would have been in June. The surgery took place in June, and apparently we were going to do it in late May, but we postponed it into early June.
That's interesting, and it was something she read in the Farmer's Almanac. Oh, that's interesting.
Well, that's Gemini.
Well, that's what apparently
Mercury.
Different signs of the zodiac correspond to different parts of your body, and apparently they move according to what my grandmother was saying during different parts of the year, so that your throat will be in a different sign during one part of the year than it is in another part, apparently.
Yeah, that would have been a month before, though. Gemini rules the arms and the hands, so the throat would have come in Taurus. So
That could have been. It could have been April, and we may have postponed it till June. That's quite possible.
Yeah.
Because again, Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably what it was.
Mm-hmm.
But you would look for Mars, for, make sure Mars is not afflicted when you're doing a surgery. Absolutely. So, that was pretty interesting. She knew her stuff.
Absolutely, she did.
Yeah. So the surgery went well, correct?
It did. It did.
Yeah.
And in fact, I was one of the few kids operated that day that didn't throw up. I did not have to regurgitate after I woke up from the anesthesia. All the other kids got sick, but not me. I just woke up fine and was actually hungry an hour or two later, and of course couldn't really eat anything solid for a little while. After a tonsil operation, you have to heal up. But yeah, I went through surgery just fine, and within a few days I was up running around playing and what have you.
You're supposed to be ordering ice cream. That's the.
They did give me ice cream in the hospital. They did give me ice cream in the hospital. And talking about your dreaming, I remember falling asleep and waking up, and the Carol Burnett show was on in the TV in my hospital room. So I always liked Carol Burnett, and so that's one of my little positive memories about my tonsil operation. Well, tell us about humor in dreams. Whenever you have a positive dream and you just wake up feeling good and laughing and this kind of thing, that's always rewarding, isn't it?
Yeah, I think that's happened to me maybe once or twice in my entire life.
How about you, Gwendolyn?
Like I said, I don't remember a lot of mine, but I wake up very easily. So I'm just happy when I wake up. I'm just very, very fortunate.
Yes, you are.
My former husband thought that was quite unnatural when it was 4:45 a.m. and I'd bounce out of bed happy, and he thought death was was occurring until it was 10 o'clock or something, and maybe he could wake up. We just had different body clocks.
Joel, I have an interesting vignette, and this is more or less out of the New York broadcasting industry. You're probably familiar with Dan Curtis, who developed the original Dark Shadows TV series. Well, the opening scene of the first episode came from a dream. Dan Curtis dreamed about the governess, Victoria Winters, being on a train, traveling to Collinwood to become the governess for these children. And it was such a vivid dream that he woke up and wrote this down, and it became basically the pilot for the whole Dark Shadows soap opera, which ended up having a 5-year run initially, and then came back in the early 90s as a miniseries, but didn't last quite so long. And of course, now there's been a movie with Johnny Depp since then. But yeah, the original came in a dream to Dan Curtis.
Wow. I'm not familiar with that. It's really interesting.
You can Google it. It's a lot of fun to read about it. To hear him talk about it. In documentaries and this sort of thing. And
definitely.
Yeah.
I think there's major inspiration and wonderful information from the other side that downloads to us when we're dreaming, whether we're conscious of it or not. Bill O'Reilly talked about his bestseller, Killing Jesus, and how that book really came to him as a dream. And he was told to write it and how to write it and to hire a researcher and so on and so forth. Sounds like he got kind of like the work plan for how he then actually did it.
Wow. Yeah,